On this edition of the NESN Celtics podcast, we'll talk about whether the Celtics finally have turned a corner and if they need to be active at the NBA trade deadline.
And then we'll look at the current state of their draft assets, and then we'll go around the NBA.
Say that you a baller. You lame, can't play this game. Step up to the plate, cause you say that you a baller.
Welcome to another edition of the NESN Celtics podcast. My name is Dakota Rendell alongside Josh Rock. Josh, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm just fantastic. I gotta be honest, I didn't watch the Celtics play last night.
Yeah, I was too busy watching Clemson just absolutely pants Alabama.
Okay, I'll get to that in a second. I watched about half of the Celtics game, and so Celtics beat the Nets 116-95. Nets got up early, and then the Celtics just destroyed them from there. Really not much to talk about there. The Celtics did play well. I think they had, 8 guys in double figures?
8 guys in double figures, yep.
And among...
37 assists.
Yep. And then the only player who played significant minutes that didn't get in double figures was Jaylen Brown, who, another useless, meaningless game from him. He has done better lately, but anyway.
He hurt his hand.
Yes, he hurt his hand high-fiving people. Yes. It's just more Jaylen Brown. So, yeah, I didn't, I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch much of this game. I just know the Celtics beat him pretty good. I watched some of the national championship game. Yeah. I got to be honest, I watched far more of the Bachelor premiere.
Of course you did. That's
I want
to brand for you.
I want to ask you: did you watch the Bachelor premiere?
No, I did not. I don't watch the Bachelor.
Oh, well then I was kind of planning on spending a bulk of this podcast talking about the Bachelor and.
I know the concept.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Speaking of the Bachelor, I noticed a tough inconsistency last night. You're familiar with how it works? You get the cocktail party first night, and then it's the rose ceremony the same night.
Yep.
Well, the cocktail party was the first night, and they go through all this stuff, all the drama. And then they had the rose ceremony where girls go home, but it was in the morning. Yet they were all wearing the same dresses and same outfits, but they framed it as if it was the same night. It was in the morning. It was a bad TV screw up. Unless, I don't know. I just noticed it and I thought it was interesting.
Maybe you're just confused.
Well, yeah, I'm confused about a lot of stuff. So, although we didn't watch much of the game last night, what I did watch, it's become clear that the Celtics are playing better. There's no doubt they're playing better. They've won 3 in a row: Timberwolves, Mavericks, Nets.
6 of 8.
6 of 8.
Offense is looking better.
Offense is looking better. And so this game was interesting to me because it was the first game in a while where everybody's been back and available. And it was one of the rare examples this season of the Celtics being at full strength and playing well as a team. Granted, against a bad Nets team. But prior to that, with whether it was Kyrie out, Hayward out, when Jaylen Brown missed time, it always looked like the Celtics played better when they had guys out of the lineup. And a lot of people said, well, the Celtics looked a lot better without Kyrie in the lineup. I'm just wondering, what do you make of all that, where the Celtics played better as a team without Kyrie, and just in general, they look better when they don't have all of their best players in the lineup? Yeah,
I don't think it's I would never point the finger at Kyrie. He's clearly their best player. I think that they do play better, obviously, when they have there's less moving parts for Brad Stevens to work with. You take just one guy out, that's 20 more minutes he has to disperse to an already really talented group, and it just seems to flow better. Everyone gets kind of in more of a rhythm than, say, you're playing 18, you're going to play 22 tonight, then you're getting 12 the next night. Everyone's kind of just, in a rhythm, in a flow, and it just kind of works better that way. Yeah,
and it just seems that Brad Stevens on a nightly basis, there are just times when he's like, I got to find a way to get people in the game. I got to force it somehow. And that's why you see these awkward rotations at the start of fourth quarters. Kyrie stays out for longer because it seems like he wants to give Terry Rozier actual meaningful minutes in the fourth because he knows at the end of the game it's going to be Kyrie, not Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like it's just been awkward all season. It looked a lot better last night. But in general, I can't help, and I heard Danny Ainge say recently that they want to add at the deadline. They want to add another piece, whether it be the veteran that Kyrie was talking about, maybe more depth on the front court with Baines being hurt. I think they need to subtract. And obviously my feeling is Jaylen Brown's got to go. And just for you, as the trade deadline approaches, I think it's February 17th. It's sometime in February.
Yeah.
Sometime in February. What do you think they need to do? Should they look to add veteran piece, whether it be like P.J. Brown in 08 when they added somebody like that? I want Vince Carter personally. But what do you think? Should they subtract? Should they add? Should they try and find a balance between the two?
I don't know. You talk about addition by subtraction. It kind of reminds me a lot of Duke teams almost in the past years. Coming into the season, it's always, well, this Duke team's so deep, they go 8, 9, 10, and when you get to February and Coach K's like, hey, I'm playing these 7 guys.
Right, every time.
Yeah, every time. We got these 6 guys, maybe a 7th guy if we get in foul trouble. And I think that's what Brad Stevens needs to do, and he's obviously uncomfortable doing that, taking whoever may be Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward if he's struggling here or there, and saying, hey, maybe you get 5 minutes tonight, you might be a DMP.
Right.
So yeah, maybe they do just need to, I don't know, maybe you find a taker for Terry Rozier and or Jaylen Brown and get a veteran in kind of a 2-for-1.
Right.
And you lighten your load, but also get a veteran presence that can help you.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can accomplish both at the same time. I just, what, and we'll get into how this all affects the Anthony Davis stuff later, but I just wonder, do they want to trade anything that could potentially be a part of the Anthony Davis package in the future? Now, what I wonder is, since Terry Rozier is a restricted free agent after the season, if they wouldn't even be able, at that point, they wouldn't even be able to trade him because they wouldn't have him because someone will give him a bigger offer sheet in the offseason. So maybe you just trade him because he wouldn't be in the Anthony Davis package anyway. But I don't know. I just wonder, are they hesitant to trade anything because looks like they're gearing up for that Anthony Davis thing?
I think them and the Lakers are kind of in the same spot where they're obviously just hoarding all of their young players and assets in hopes that they get to fire a shot at the Pelicans.
Agreed. And what I really think, and it's interesting because a lot of people going into the season thought that this was now the year. The Celtics could be legitimate title contenders, and maybe they still could be, who knows. But what I find interesting is that really the big storyline for me, what's most important is it actually still is about the future. This season still is all about building to something bigger and building for this future cash in. It seems like we've been talking about it for 4 or 5 years in a row, and a lot of people thought this is what it was leading to this year, the Gordon Hayward arrival.
As long as you still have, we'll talk about it, as long as you still have the draft assets still out there, the rebuild technically isn't complete.
Right.
Right. You're stocking those up for something, and it's got to be the final piece.
Right, exactly. And so I want to spend a bulk of this podcast talking not just about the Anthony Davis thing, but that's definitely a big part of it, but the current state of the Celtics draft picks.
Yeah.
And so
getting better.
It's getting better, but it's fluctuating. I mean, we're talking about a couple of games here and there where everything could change.
Yep.
And so, for those that don't know, the Celtics this season could get the Sacramento Kings first round pick, Memphis Grizzlies first round pick, the Los Angeles Clippers first round pick, and then as well as their own. And there are a lot of conditions on all those picks. And so with Sacramento, it's top 1 protected. If it's the pick is number 1 overall, it goes to next season. And I don't know, is it unprotected next season?
I don't know.
I think I'm not sure how that would work. But either way, they get it as long as it's not number 1 overall. And that pick's not going to be number 1 overall.
No, 20 right now.
Yeah, Sacramento's decent. The Memphis Grizzlies pick is top 8 protected. So if Memphis gets a draft pick in the top 8, it goes to next season. And then next season, it's top 6 protected. And if Memphis drafts in the top 6 next season, it's unprotected the next year. So if Memphis is really bad in 2 years, you could be looking at a legitimate top 5 pick.
Sure.
So that's a real asset. And then Clippers is top 14 both years. They're good enough. They're not going to be.
Yeah, you get that pick.
You're going to get that pick this year.
Yep.
So I'll just go real quick into where they are now. So, and recently it wasn't looking good. On December 14th, you had the Sacramento pick was going to be 19th, the Memphis pick was going to be 20th, and then the Clippers 21st. But those 2 picks that are supposed to be so big, potentially to go get Anthony Davis or trade assets in general, were mid to bottom of the first round, and that's not good.
Yep.
Since then, the Grizzlies have gone 2-8. The Kings lost 4 in a row, but they won last night. But now, you would get the Memphis pick at 9 and the Kings pick at 14. And then the Clippers pick at 22. So it's getting better.
Yeah.
And
sure.
It's getting better. But my question to you is, is that good? Do you want them to get both picks this season? I think you want Memphis to get their pick this year.
I mean, if you're going to bank on the fact that they're going to be absolute garbage in 2 years.
It's a gamble.
Then, yeah, but it's a gamble, right?
It's a gamble. And so my question.
But I think the point goes to, what do you want the pick for?
Right.
Is the pick for you?
Right.
Or if the pick's to be traded, you want the Grizzlies to get their pick this year.
Right.
Because you want whoever you're trading it to see, okay, in 2 years we could have potentially the number 1 overall pick if the Grizzlies are bad.
Right. Whereas if you're not going to trade it, I think you would just take it this year.
Yeah.
Get the number 9 pick if you could.
Get a top 10 pick.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what I can't help but wonder is, this time last year, or even in the offseason, people looked at it and said, wow, you could probably package Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, and that Memphis and Sacramento pick and get Anthony Davis.
No, it'd only take Terry Rozier and Yabusele.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what Celtics fans have told me.
To me, Yabu's untouchable.
Can't trade him.
I think he's,
especially after he forgot to take off his warm-up last night, coming into the game.
We laugh about Yabu. He has looked okay recently.
Better than Draymond Green, in my opinion.
Okay. Yabu's great.
Cult hero.
Yeah, cult hero. But so originally people looked at these picks and thought, you would definitely have the assets. We've heard this treasure trove of the Celtics assets. Danny's built this stockpile of incredible assets. He can get whatever he wants. He can outbid anybody. But let's say this goes the other way and Memphis starts winning again and Sacramento starts winning again, and it gets closer to the 19 and 20 and 21 picks. I don't think that with Jaylen Brown and or Terry Rozier is enough to get Anthony Davis.
Man, Terry Rozier's probably not going to be a part of it anyways at this point, as you pointed out. So
right. And so again, you're looking at Jaylen Brown and those three picks.
You and I are, I know, on probably opposite sides of this, but I think they're going to have to give up Tatum if they want Anthony Davis.
Unless Jaylen Brown figures it out.
I still don't see the Pelicans accepting a guy who has a floor of a sixth man and a bunch of picks for a generational star. You just can't sell it to a fan base.
No.
They already don't sell out the Smoothie King Center. You can't trade the only guy people come to see for a guy who hurts his hand high-fiving fans and a bunch of players that they don't even know who they are yet.
Right. That said, I believe Sacramento is like 2.5 games away from being in the top 8. So if that pick sneaks into top 8, maybe top 5 if you're lucky, if the balls bounce your way, and then Memphis gets their pick this year and you get it, because from what I've gathered and reading, and seeing what people say about it, the mystery actually has more value. People look at it and there's kind of more intrigue and value attached to the pick.
Kind of like a car. You drive it off the lot, it depreciates immediately.
Okay. Yes.
Once a pick is made, it depreciates.
Right.
Unless it's the number 1 overall pick.
Right. And so if it goes, then it goes into next year. People can talk themselves into Memphis could stink, and we could get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So if that happens, maybe. But as you said, I think if it were to happen right now, you'd have to have Tatum. It'd have to be Tatum Brown in the 2 picks.
Yep.
Would you do that?
Yes.
For Anthony Davis,
absolutely.
You would? Why?
Because he's a generational star.
See,
and you're getting 2 players in Kyrie and Anthony Davis who are top 10 players in the NBA in their primes. Championship windows are small, and I can deal with it. I'll do it in a heartbeat. I'll drive to the airport myself.
Okay. I probably would too. If someone came to me and offered me that deal, I think you'd ultimately have to.
You get Anthony Davis for next year and he resigns, book it.
And if Kyrie resigns.
Yeah, well, who knows?
You're right. And that would be automatic. There'd be no you could compete with the Warriors, and talking about this series, it would be, you should beat the Warriors. You should
and
be
you'd
favored.
be rising when the Warriors are most likely going to implode this offseason.
Right. Now, then you wonder, are you going to get some sort of LeBron, Kawhi team up? But that's a different conversation. The only thing that I worry about in all of this is we've talked all about, wow, the Celtics are just so set up for the future with Tatum being the next Paul Pierce, Jaylen Brown being whatever Jaylen Brown is, and all this other stuff. But, if you make that deal, you've ended it. You have effectively, you've ended this whole thing about the Celtics building to the future and all these picks. It's over. It's done with.
Future's got to arrive sometime.
Right. And so I guess where I lie is, if you had told me when this whole thing started, if the end result was Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and Gordon Hayward, I think that would be a pretty good outcome. So I'm with you. I would trade Jason Tatum. The only worry I have is, you're hitching your wagons to a guy that snapped his leg in half last year, a guy who seems to have a bad knee in Kyrie, and a tall guy in Anthony Davis who I just personally always worry about foot injuries with those guys. It doesn't resonate. That's not a thing for you at all? You're not worried about it?
No. I don't buy it.
Okay.
You got to gamble.
I guess you do. All
right, let me put it to you this way. Let's say they make the trade. They win a title. Is it worth it? They win 1.
A title?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask the Detroit Pistons. Was that 1 title worth it?
To them it was.
I guess so.
If you looked at...
And I guess our title with the Celtics in 08 was worth it.
Yeah, if you looked at Wick's interview with Adam Hilsbach when he was talking about, potentially trading for superstar, he said, our goal is to win titles. We've only won 1, and they want to win another one.
It's also, Celtics fans are so damn easy to please that you win one title, I mean, you're good for 10 years.
We've talked about
At
this.
least.
It's the easiest fan base of the 4 in the city by far.
Absolutely.
It's patty cake soft.
It is. It is My Pillow soft.
Yeah, it really
It's
is.
one giant My Pillow commercial. But I just think it's interesting that I think a lot of people keep talking about, are the Celtics going to figure it out and going to gel? I think monitoring these picks and seeing what happens is the most important thing this season. Because I think we all can look at it this year and say, unless it turns around, which, I mean, it is what it is. You're almost halfway through the season. I don't think it's going to get so much better that they are going to be championship level. I'd be surprised, really surprised, if it got, and because you're 4.5 back in the standings, the Celtics can't win on the road. They've proved it. I mean, maybe that changes this year. They haven't won in Toronto in, what, 8 years or 13 tries?
Yeah,
You're going to go on the road in Toronto and beat them in a series? I don't trust it, and I don't think they just match up so poorly with the Bucks. The Bucks are built so well to beat the Celtics that I don't think you could beat them on the road either, because you're a weak road team.
and now they have a good coach.
And now they have a good coach.
They should have beat you last year, but
Right. I'm not seeing it this year. I mean, maybe.
no, I agree. I
can
mean,
happen.
like you said, they're playing better, and I mean they're gonna overtake the Sixers probably here coming up, and they'll be a top 4 seed. But I don't see them coming out of the East. And I mean, they're not gonna automatically, March isn't gonna come and they're gonna flip a switch and be like, oh hey, the 60-win Celtics now are here.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, here we found it.
Which is why I say tank.
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 Oh Lord.
Tankapalooza. Tank. That way you can get a lottery pick.
That way your pick's good. Now.
Your pick's good and you don't have to trade Jason Tatum.
You're a lunatic.
It doesn't it? It makes so much more sense than what you're currently doing.
We need to have you drug tested.
No, I like my job. Yeah, tank, right?
No.
I mean, if you break it down to brass tacks, and
Well,
look at Thanos. Thanos had to make a tough decision in Avengers,
Yeah.
but you could argue it was the correct call.
Cost him everything.
It cost him everything, but ultimately he was right. Just like the Joker was right. Just like every villain's right. All bad people are right, and the Celtics tanking would be a Thanos-esque move on a slightly smaller scale. But I think it would be the right call. I know you don't want to give any warrant this point with a discussion, but it's not too late. I mean, you're 23-15. If you tank the rest of the season, you finish with 20 wins.
Start shutting down people.
You're lottery.
Kyrie's knee's bad again.
Yeah. Shut down Kyrie. I'm telling you. And then package those 3. Get
Then he
Anthony
goes
Davis.
to the Knicks, and then things are really off the rails.
Yeah, then everything goes to hell. Gordon Hayward retires.
Wow.
So that's my big idea. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's, as much as we talk about the Celtics trying to turn it around, and the playoffs are going to be intense here. I still think the whole conversation, future of the Celtics, is the most important storyline to me, and the one that people need to focus on more here. Not more, but just as much.
Oh, I mean, I would agree. I mean, like we said, they're not gonna. I think the NBA title is a little bit of a pipe dream at this point, the way they're playing.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
We like to do it every episode, and it's been, how long have we been doing this? Maybe 20, 15 minutes so far?
Something like that.
We haven't talked about Jaylen Brown that much. And I'd like to, because Jaylen Brown is bad. And
That's accurate.
Jaylen Brown turned it on over the past few games, and he got 30 points, then 22 points. I don't know, he looked a little bit better, especially when Kyrie was out of the lineup. At this point, what is your assessment? Do you think he has taken a legitimate step back, or is this all a product of the circumstances of the Celtics this season? And he's just a guy without a role. Whereas I say earn a role.
I just don't think he's very good.
I think he's a woefully bad ball handler.
I think last year was the outlier. I think him shooting 37% from 3 might never happen again.
True.
He's not a good ball handler.
This is a horrible ball handler.
He's not a playmaker. His defense is vastly overrated.
Yeah.
He's a bad free throw shooter. And I mean, yeah, he's athletic, but he's just not that good.
No, but the one thing that is not an outlier with Jaylen Brown, let me see if I can find it here real quick. One thing that's not an outlier is he plays well in the playoffs and in big games in general. I don't have his numbers for big games, but I know that last year in the playoffs, in 18 games, he averaged 18 points, almost 5 boards, and 1.5 assists. And then the season before, when they went and got trounced by the Cavs, he showed out in a few of those games too. So I don't know what to make of that. Is it just when he gets in these big? I don't know what to make of the dude. I can't figure it out. Because in big games he looks good. He looked good in that Houston game. He had a really strong game.
Yep.
And whenever there's a primetime game, it seems like Jaylen Brown plays his best. So I'm just wondering what's going on the rest of the time. You think it's just soft?
I couldn't tell you. It's probably just soft. I think he's just upset that he's, he doesn't, like you say, he doesn't have a role.
Yeah.
I mean,
he is a very, very frustrating player. And I can't remember who wrote it. Someone on WEI. Sorry if you're listening and I'm not giving you the proper credit. But they wrote that when the Mavs were in town, Luka Doncic was an example of what you're missing in Jaylen Brown. This is a guy, you watch him, both number 3 picks, and you watch Luka Doncic and you're like, crap, that guy probably is a superstar.
Yeah.
That's what you could get in a number 3 pick.
Yeah, it's possible.
And you've had 2 number 3 picks. I think Jason Tatum is
very good.
Very good. I think just sort of, but the more I watch Jason Tatum, I think all-star.
Yeah.
But you can get superstars in that area of the draft. I know it's hard to hit, but it looks like the Mavs might have done it with Doncic. I mean, he looks different than Tatum.
He's the real deal.
It's a different kind of thing with him. He looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you got 2 number 3 picks, and I'm not saying you whiffed because you didn't, but you got Jaylen Brown, who looks like a career role piece. You check swing whiffed. Yeah, it's up to the first base umpire.
Right. Yeah.
He doesn't, and he's wavering a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you got an all-star and a really good 6-man.
Maybe.
Do you think that's enough?
For 2 number 3 picks?
Yeah.
No.
No? No.
I don't think so.
I don't either. But again, you also got the Sacramento pick, so we'll see what happens there.
All right, let's go over this just real quick. His last 10 games.
Okay.
4 points, 2 points, 6 points, 21 points against the Bucks, big game.
Right, big game.
8 points, 4 points, 18 points against the Rockets.
Right.
6 points, 30 points against the Spurs when they got trashed in the third quarter.
That was an insane game, but that game was such an outlier to me.
Gave up 50 points in the third quarter, 10, 21, and then 4 against the Nets.
But the Spurs game was also a big game, and it was nationally televised, I think.
Yep.
So again, big games.
Bright lights, he shines.
And then last night he gets 4 points against the Nets, who suck. I just don't.
Those are my Nets.
So yeah, it's just a very weird dude to figure out. I can't.
I mean, hey, if he keeps putting up big numbers in big games, raise that trade value.
He could. I'm going to segue real quick into the upcoming schedule for the Celtics real quick. I think, let me pull it up here. Sneaky big game, I don't think sneaky, on Thursday against the Indiana Pacers, who now are 3rd in the East. They are 2.5 games back of the Raptors. That's a big game for the Celtics.
Huge.
It's huge.
It's huge.
But after that, I mean, you got a chance here, because as much as we say the Celtics probably can't catch the Raptors, you're 4.5 back. You play them again, I think, in like a week and a half or 2 weeks. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say you win that, and or no, you are 4.5 back of the Bucks. Whatever.
They're even, yeah.
Yeah, they're even.
They're about even.
But you also you want to catch the Raptors. So let's say you win that game, and then after the Pacers game, you got the Heat, the Magic, the Nets again, Raptors, Grizzlies, who you want to win that game because you want them to get low.
Double win.
Yeah, double win. The Hawks, the Heat, the Cavs, the Warriors, Nets, Hornets, Knicks, Thunder, Cavs, and then there's some tough ones after that. You got a stretch here where you can make up some serious ground.
Well, this has been I think starting around Christmas. This is the stretch they're supposed to make up all the ground they lost when they were screwing off at the start of the year, right?
Yeah, figuring out who the hell they were.
Yeah, well, we're still working on that.
We are, yes, exactly. But again, yeah, this is a big stretch for the Celtics because, let's say you go like 11-2 in the stretch. Let's say you lose to the Warriors and you lose another one in there. You come out of that and all of a sudden you are, you're 36-17, which
that's good.
That's very good.
Supposed to be.
It is where you're supposed to be. So there is still a slight chance here that you can get back up to the top, and I think you need to. Right now, if the season ended, you would get Celtics-Sixers in the first round, which,
I mean,
I have a sneaky feeling that this whole season is going to boil down to a really fun Celtics-Sixers series, and we're going to get no further. Like, we might win that, and then that's it. And people will go, oh, that Celtics-Sixers series was great. You beat Jimmy Butler.
Right, yeah.
And then you're going to go, yeah, but you lost in the second round to...
Yeah, but you own the 76ers. They're, to quote Dan Shaughnessy, they're tomato cans.
Yeah, that's another thing. So the 76ers this week, it came out that Jimmy Butler is butting heads with Brett Brown, complaining about his role in the offense. This
He's probably pissed that Ben Simmons sucks.
and I think when we did our first podcast,
Yeah.
I spent a lot of it trashing Jimmy Butler because
You
I
did.
think he's a bum, and I think he's an antiquated piece in the NBA. No one likes mid-range jump shots anymore.
I think what's the saying? If there's a problem everywhere you go, the problem's you.
That's a good, it might apply to me. Now, the more that I
It definitely applies to you.
more I think
CC Ben Watanabe.
True. I don't know. What do you make of this of the Jimmy Butler thing? What do you make of that guy? I'm not a Jimmy Butler fan.
I mean, I think he's really talented, but
I think he's a dog.
I think he's a dog.
I think he's a dog. I think he's a dog.
No Jabba.
No, he's not Jabba.
No, I think he's good, but that only goes so far. I mean, you can't wreck the Timberwolves where you had Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins were supposed to be a up and coming power in the West. Go to the 76ers and then start throwing feces everywhere.
What would it be like to throw feces everywhere?
I don't know. Ask Jimmy Butler.
You ever think about that? Yeah, that's Jimmy Butler. Yeah, that team, I don't get the hype with the Sixers. And we see, like, Nick Wright pumps them, Stephen A. Smith pumps them. And not to say these dudes know anything because they don't know any more than I do. Sorry, or any of us. They're just guys. And people love the Sixers, and they love Embiid and Simmons and Redick.
I mean, I love Embiid.
I do like Embiid. How can you not?
That's ridiculous.
I look at that team and I'm like, I just don't see it. I think you cannot get anywhere when, your point guard, he made a jump shot that was 22 feet out against the Celtics, and it was the longest of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so bad that it makes a difference.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the video. He's now shooting corner threes. He's not making them, but he's
Is he? I haven't seen
in
this.
practice.
He's trying?
In practice, because Brett Brown wants him to shoot corner threes because Jimmy needs the ball.
Okay. Jeez. And it's embarrassing. How do you not? You're in the NBA. Someone's paying you millions and millions of dollars, and how do you not take things seriously enough to try and get better at shooting? And heave one up, see what happens. God, we have Aaron Baines making threes.
Yeah.
And you can't make any, and you're Ben Simmons.
Brooke Lopez might be the best stretch big in the league now, and he couldn't even take a three-pointer 3 years ago.
Seriously. And Ben Simmons is still, I'd rather hang out with whatever Jenner he's with, Kardashian, I don't know. And I'm just not on the Ben Simmons train.
I'm not either.
He makes these fancy little behind-the-back passes. You know what he is? He is I would say a worse version of Rajon Rondo. I know Ben Simmons is more talented and probably better. I would take Rajon Rondo over Ben Simmons. And they feel like the same player.
If I'm the Sixers, I'd trade him. Well, his value's high.
It's a great idea.
What about the Pelicans?
That would be crazy. With Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis. I mean,
Warriors can't defend that.
No, I don't think anybody really could. I just don't see with the Sixers and that, and then Jimmy Butler just shoots mid-range jump shots and drives sometimes. I just don't think they can keep up with a team like the Celtics that can, if they're on, make all their threes.
No, I think the Sixers are the probably the one top four team in the East. The Celtics could easily handle.
I think so too. But again, you are a soft road team, and that could come down to home court, and you currently are trailing the Sixers by a game and a half.
Brett Brown's a boob, though.
Brett Brown's going to get fired.
Yeah.
Very soon.
We saw that last year. Atrocious head coach.
He is, and the way he talks, I don't know. I can't do it. Another player I want to talk about here for a second is Gordon Hayward. For those, unless you
Turn the corner.
I think he might be.
I think he is.
So he, in his last 5 games, he had one game where he had 14 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. I don't know. It was a decent enough game. Next game he had 0 points, which was
bagel against the Spurs. That game was just so weird.
Yeah, that was a weird game. And then the next game he had 35 points, 5 assists.
Torched the Timberwolves. Got Tom Thibodeau fired.
Then 16, 11, and 8, almost had a triple-double. And then last night, 12, 4, and 2. Again, everybody was kind of scoring around 12 points last night.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, share the wealth.
But I'm wondering, what are you seeing from Gordon Hayward out there? Because the numbers definitely look better, but I watch him and I'm still thinking like it's not even remotely in the same ballpark of what he used to be.
No, I mean, not yet, but I don't know, people for some reason thought he was going to come back from getting his leg almost detached from his body right away and be who he was, but I mean, it takes so much time. You look at Paul George when he had that injury at Team USA. It took him, 4 years to be the guy he is now?
Right.
I mean, even think about Paul George last year. He was not even close to the guy who's lighting it up now.
True.
It just takes you so long to get your feet back and get everything back.
Yeah, because what people forget about Gordon Hayward is before he got hurt, Gordon Hayward was a guy who would like get the ball in the wing, he would drive baseline, and he'd dunk on your face.
Yeah.
Or do something really nasty, or just pull up on a dime and make sick jump shots.
Yeah.
Do all kinds of athletic stuff. Now, when he drives those, he like kind of takes a bump.
He's tentative. The quickness isn't all there.
And he tries to throw up these really awkward-looking reverse layups where he just is afraid. I don't know what it is. It just
doesn't want to come down. I mean, it's just human.
It is human nature.
Yeah. Like I said, it's going to take time, but he's definitely playing better.
He's definitely playing better. That said, I think Marcus Morris is and should be considered. I would say
he's been their MVP this season.
I would say he's the number 2 scoring option, or maybe number 3 behind Tatum. I don't know. I mean, he's averaging more than Tatum, or he's averaging just as much. Either way,
I trust him more. It seems anytime he puts up a shot,
yeah,
you feel that confidence that's going in.
He's also one of those guys. When I switched back over from The Bachelor for a second last night, one of the rare moments that I did that.
Yeah. Was Colton talking about his virginity again?
It's the other thing. I say I'm out on The Bachelor this season, and I'm not.
You're never out.
But if you're at all familiar with it, it's Colton who supposedly is a virgin, which I don't believe. But
we need to get Courtney in here to talk about this. She'd be mad at us.
True. Yes. But the whole storyline, the entire 3 hours was just the Colton virgin thing. And it was just so inundating and obnoxious. I mean, I don't want to go on about The Bachelor, but I just can't.
You brought it back up.
It's so upsetting to me, and I'm laying on my couch last night and I'm watching it, and it's just the trashiest.
That's why you watch it.
I know.
It's very on brand for you.
I know. But yeah, no. So what I was saying about Marcus Morris, when I switched it back last night, I saw they passed it to him in the wing, and there was a guy in his face, and he was doing that Marcus Morris thing, where he was facing the guy, a couple jab steps, and I was like, this guy's going to shoot this ball. And he should pass it 100 times out of 100. As soon as it goes to him, he has just the slightest body language where I'm like, no matter what happens here, Marcus Morris is
going to shoot. You can tell he'll catch it, and you can he utters a couple MFers, and you're like, this thing's going up.
He does love the MFers. What's crazy is his brother, Markieff. They play the exact same game.
Yeah, well, that's what happens.
I think the Celtics are trying to get Markieff Morris. I think you should get both. That way you can have like a rotation rivalry where Marcus starts and Markieff is on the bench, and then they like hate each other.
What did you think of Marcus Smart's hair?
I didn't see it. I've heard about it. It was a shamrock braid.
It was dumb.
I don't know. That dude, he came in this year because he'd been rocking the dyed fro mohawk thing,
whatever the hell it's called,
that everyone's been doing. And then he came in this year with a buzz cut, and then like 2 days later he had an afro again, which was crazy, and he dyed it again. And then he had really, really tight cornrows for a couple games. He had like a Gerald Green style cornrow.
That's what he did with the shamrock. He shamrocked the cornrows.
Yeah, and then but after the weird cornrows, he went back to like the dyed mohawk, and now he's at a I don't know, it's crazy.
The oral history of Marcus Smart's hair.
Yeah, I think someone around that team isn't doing a good job because they gotta, do a feature on Marcus Smart's hair.
Yeah, where's Jay King when we need him?
Yeah, where's Jay? So yeah, again, the Celtics, I think they're playing better, and I don't know if we want to say that they're turning a corner, but they do look a lot better. But for me, the thing we got to monitor going forward here is the draft pick situation.
You're just bored because this is such a down point in the season. What a low point of the season.
Well, and how can we care? The Patriots are in the playoffs.
Well, they're about to get dusted by the Chargers. I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm not getting into that one on this one. That's a rabbit hole neither of us want to go down. Let's go around the NBA real quick before we wrap up. I want to get your thoughts.
Swing it around.
Nuggets, first place in the West, still 38 games into the season.
Still trying to get healthy, too.
Exactly. Isaiah Thomas still not playing.
Gary Harris still out, I think. Paul Millsap out.
Yeah. So are you buying the Nuggets?
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, they're not going to win the finals. They're probably not going to go to the finals. But they're really good.
I mean, they're really good.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah, the 26-12. The Warriors are second, 26-14. Thunder in third, right behind them by a half game. Then the Clippers,
and
Rockets.
James Harden has carried the Rockets out of the depths.
Yeah.
He is balling.
He is
so good.
He is balling.
He is frustrating as hell to watch, and it's not aesthetically pleasing, but my lord.
Did you see the one he had last night against Jamal Murray?
Yes.
Where
yes.
crossed
Chris
him up?
Paul's still speechless.
Yeah, that was a tough one. But you're not buying the Nuggets just yet?
I mean, as what? as finals contenders?
Oh,
No,
they're
absolutely
26
not.
and 12, and they're ahead of the Warriors. But I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
if you say in June it's going to be Bucks Nuggets,
I know.
Adam Silver will cancel the season.
I don't want anybody to come at me at any point and talk about the thin air factor. I hate that talk so much. I hate this. The talk this week about the damn weather with the Patriots and how it's an advantage. When's the last time you remember the Patriots playing in snow? Who on the team has played in snow? Everyone says, "Oh, if the snow's coming, that's Patriots."
I know the Chargers are in LA, but you act like these guys have never played in snow.
Right.
Like they're like coming from some tropical island where they've never played in cold weather.
They've played in snow as much as just about anybody in the Patriots.
Exactly.
And it's been so long.
It's such a Patriot hardo thing to be like, oh, we got the snow.
Yeah, we got no one going in the snow, and Philip Rivers in the Chargers. It's been so long since there's been a snow game that no one's accustomed to it anymore.
When was the last time they even played in the snow?
The last time I can remember is the Tennessee Titans game.
Yeah, right.
And that was in 2010 with Deion Branch.
Yeah.
I know there's definitely probably been one since then, but it's so infrequent that there's no way anybody on the team is accustomed to the weather.
No, even Julian Edelman he's been here for 10 years, and he's like, I'm not used to the weather.
Right.
Like,
so I don't,
not like the Patriots.
Not to mention, you are a slower team than the Chargers. You're
less
worse
athletic.
Athletes. Yeah, you're worse athletes across the board. Your quarterback has a bum knee, so you don't want the snow.
Yeah, you don't.
I think it's the opposite. I don't think you want the snow, but New England fans. And same thing with people in Denver. They think the stupid thin air and the stupid mile high is a factor. It's not.
I think it is. I think that one's actually a factor. I think that's science.
It might be. I guess so. Elsewhere in the West, Jazz, 20 and 21 in 10th place. Who saw that coming?
Yeah,
what happened to Donovan Mitchell's the next Michael Jordan? Jesus.
Yeah, sophomore slump for him. They've been pretty bad. They need to play Grayson Allen more.
I haven't even followed him this year. What's he been doing?
I don't think he's been playing. That's probably one of the reasons. Check this.
Are you a Grayson Allen fan?
Yeah,
are you a Duke fan?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're gross. You're disgusting.
I would ride for Grayson Allen, just like I ride for Baker Mayfield.
I will say, have you ever been to Duke?
Yeah.
So have you been inside Cameron?
Yeah.
There are a few places, a few sports venues that I can imagine or that I've been to that you step in, because being in this industry and stuff, you go places and you see things and the sheen kind of wears off on a lot of this stuff. Cameron Indoor Stadium is
sick.
Yeah, and I got to go into it on just a random day. There was no practice or game, so I didn't go to a game, but I just walked onto it. It was open and no one was in the court. And it was like you were walking into your high school gym. Yeah. I just walked into the middle, looked around, started taking a bunch of pictures, and I was like, I don't know, it just felt different when you were in it.
It's sick.
Same thing like Notre Dame with Touchdown Jesus behind the Bruins game. I thought that was really cool. I'm sure Fenway's like that for some people. But
for some people.
I
Not you.
I can't go further. Again, I'm on record. I can say this. I'm on record. I did this on the Red Sox podcast. Tropicana Field offers a superior baseball experience to that of Fenway Park.
Yeah, especially if you hate other people.
Are you calling me miserable?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
but I'm right with you there.
I'll take $3 beers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jazz not very good, 20 and 21.
No.
And then who cares about the rest of the West?
Yeah. Garbage.
And for the rest of the East, just real quick, any of these teams, Heat, Hornets, Nets, Pistons, any of them mean anything to you? Pistons were the flavor of the month at the beginning of the season. Now they're 17 and 21. Blake Griffin suddenly isn't.
The Pistons are who we thought they would be.
Yeah.
They're a around 500 team.
Yeah, uninteresting and not good.
Exactly. Just like every team below the Celtics, Heat, blah, Hornets, woof, Nets, no thank you.
What stinks for all of these teams is that the only way they're ever going to get relevant is if something like what happened to the Bucks happens, where they got Giannis.
Because the Bucks were in that place. They were in purgatory for 8 years, and then just fell ass over tea kettle into Giannis.
Right.
And turns out he's a top 6 player.
And he's that good that they're now on top of the East.
Otherwise, you got to do what the Cavs are doing and just bottom out.
Right. And unless that happens to you, there is no hope. And that's such a problem with the NBA. They got to figure that out because it's so uninteresting and it's so top heavy that it's just the same thing every year. I don't know, it's tough.
Oh, did you? You probably didn't read Kevin O'Connor's thing on The Ringer today, but saying that the Knicks, as we know, are going to try to clear cap space, go to Kevin Durant, and the Spurs are interested in making a run at Kristaps Porzingis.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I don't know. The big thing I'm worried about here, this will be one of our final thoughts.
Yeah.
If the Knicks somehow get, let's say, Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler, and Kyrie, if that happens, well, no, I mean, it could happen.
How?
I don't know if they have the trade pieces, but they could get Kyrie and Jimmy Butler.
Yes, yeah,
and,
not Anthony Davis.
And Anthony, yeah, but Anthony.
Let's say they get Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
Okay, or Kevin Durant, that's the one I'm forgetting about. Okay, maybe not Anthony Davis, but if they get Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler, Kyrie, whatever combination, and the Knicks suddenly become good, outside of what my job requires me to do, I will stop watching the NBA. I will, because that is
because the Knicks have
so
been irrelevant
lame.
for 30 years.
No franchise deserves to be good less than the Knicks. They have done absolutely nothing to warrant being good, and that's what's so frustrating about the NBA. All other sports, you can build it. There's a way. Even the Rays found it one year, and they were good. And the NFL, you draft well, suddenly you're good. The Browns are figuring it out now. NHL, it always changes. MLB, you draft and you have prospects, all this stuff. The NBA, the Knicks they've been terrible, irrelevant, no business being any good, and then just because it's in New York and it's Madison freaking Garden,
The Mecca.
they could get Kevin Durant and Kyrie and all of a sudden be better than you.
Yeah.
That is so stupid and broken.
Take your best player and take your throne.
I mean, whatever, take Kyrie, but it's all about if Durant goes there.
Whatever, take Kyrie.
It's just, it would be they would have to figure something out because that is broken and it's not, I don't know, it's frustrating.
Hey, man, that's the NBA.
Oh, it's such a bad league. I hate the NBA. I mean, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I hate it at the same time. One parting thought here. This is breaking news.
Breaking news.
Vince Carter, not ready to call it quits. Says he can't imagine retiring at end of season. I'm trading Jaylen Brown for Vince Carter tomorrow. I don't know. I think Vince Carter would be a great fit on this team. I think they need size. That's ultimately what they might go with.
But they have the Time Lord.
They do have the Time Lord. That's another thing we didn't talk about is Robert Williams, if he shows out, could be, I don't know. I don't know if he'd really be that much of a pot sweetener.
No.
But
I don't think so.
That's a very green teamer thing to think.
Yeah, that is.
But I want Vince Carter.
Take your Celtics jammies off.
Yeah. But Vince Carter has always been my favorite basketball player. So that's
Right, that's your favorite basketball player of all time?
Always. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I always rocked an old Vince Carter Raptors jersey. My AIM screen name when I was growing up was V Carter 15 TR, so number 15 in the Toronto Raptors, and then I think like 03 for my birthday. Super lame screen name, but I was a big Vince Carter fan.
Explains a lot.
A lot of pictures of me from like ages like 9 to 13 are rocking Vince Carter jerseys.
Well, I hope he doesn't retire for your sake then.
I know. I'm saying I'd love to see him in a Celtics uniform. But anyway, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, you ready to get out of here?
Yeah.
right.
Anything you want to add? Any other prevailing thoughts? What are you looking for from the Celtics here over the next week or so?
Like you said, Wednesday against the Pacers.
Yeah, this feels like
So it's a measuring stick game because, like you
is.
said, for the rest of the month, other than the Raptors game and the Warriors game, it's all water trash.
It is. It's hot.
Yeah,
hot,
it's
stinky
Magic,
garbage.
Cavs. So,
we are at that weird part of the season. This happened during the Red Sox season when I was doing that podcast where, in July you come in and you're like, what do we talk about? They just keep winning. And they just keep winning, and it's kind of the same storyline. There's nothing really going on.
Yep.
Whereas the Celtics, they don't just keep winning, they just keep being okay.
Yeah, they're just very average.
They just keep looking above average.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say average.
They have games where they look good, and they have games where they get 50 points in the third quarter.
Right, so you're waiting for something. I think that Golden State Warriors game will be really interesting.
Yep, obviously.
Because it'll kind of give you this thing where you look at it and say, well, you beat the Raptors at home. You beat the Sixers twice at home. You beat the Bucks once at home, even though that was early in the season, and you beat the Warriors. I mean, again, this goes back to being a home team. But you look at it and say, well, when it comes down to it and they have to step up and play good against good teams, they do.
Right.
So it'll be encouraging.
At home.
At home. Correct. And they would get waxed if they went to Golden State. Oh, my God, would that be bad. So anyway, yeah, I'm looking. I think this is an important stretch. We could see the standings change, but other than that, we're just riding it right now.
Yeah, ride the roller coaster.
Okay. Again, thank you for listening. This has been the NESN Celtics podcast. I'm Dakota Randall. You can find me at Dak Randall I don't think I'm particularly interesting on Twitter. I try to be.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I tweet a lot of stuff about video games, so
if you like video games, follow him.
Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend following me. I'm kind of boring.
Yeah.
And you are Josh. I always forget it.
Schrock and off. SCHROCK _ off.
It's a very underwhelming Twitter handle. Just kidding.
Thanks, Scandal.
Anyway, so we will see you next time, and thanks for listening, everybody.
See you guys.
And the maniac. Say that you a baller. You lame, can't play this game. Step up. Say that you a baller.